House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced this week that Congress will establish an independent commission to investigate the deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol.
Pelosi says the investigation will be similar to the one conducted years ago by the 9/11 Commission. NewsNation correspondent Joe Khalil is live in D.C. tonight, where he spoke exclusively with some members of the 9/11 Commission. Joe.
Yeah, Rob, we got to talk to the leaders of that commission. And, at this point, it's pretty clear there's bipartisan support for this new investigation. It is very likely to happen. So the question becomes, what does this investigation look like? Who does it? And how do you do it properly? And these guys have that experience. They have a lot of advice and insight for Congress.
I just could not believe that in this seat of democracy, these things could be happening.
Perhaps no one knows how to better investigate an attack on American soil or the seat of government than Lee Hamilton and Thomas Kean.
And there should be a report giving the American people all the facts so they know how it happened, why it happened, all of that.
Hamilton, a former congressman, and Kean, a former governor, were tapped to lead the 9/11 Commission, the expansive, nearly 2-year investigation to explore the intelligence failures that allowed for the 9/11 attacks to happen. Both men now support having a similar investigation into the January 6th Capitol attack.
There's still a lot of questions about what happened, how it happened. Was the attack prepared a long time ago? Or did it happen spontaneously?
And while they dealt with partisanship, both men say today's political climate is more divided than it was post 9/11.
Lee and I made a basic attempt from day one to put those partisan things to bed. I mean, we said that no Republican was going to sit next to another Republican at any hearing. Because Republicans and Democrats were going to sit next to each other.
I don't want to be pessimistic about it. It can be done. The key, of course, and this is in any human endeavor, is the quality of the people you get.
Many Republicans, including staunch Trump allies like Senator Lindsey Graham, back the idea of an independent commission. But some, like Georgia's Jody Hice, warn the focus shouldn't be on the former president.
I think it's totally unfair and unjust to put something like that squarely on the shoulders of President Trump.
And while the 9/11 Commission's recommendations led to a top-to-bottom overhaul of American intelligence, Hice says this time the goal should be limited to getting answers, not passing new laws.
So another piece of legislation is not going to prevent that. What we need to know is why were the laws not enforced? Why was law enforcement not prepared?
And that, Hamilton says, is the wrong approach.
But your focus has to be on the future. What do we need to do to make this country more secure and more capable of becoming a more perfect union?
Bottom line, say Kean and Hamilton, be transparent and use every resource at your disposal.
The investigators should be in touch with the White House as well on this. Bring them in, at least keep them in the know.
When we needed documents, needed help, where we could have subpoenaed things, but it would have taken a long time, the White House stepped up and got us those documents pretty speedily, and that can be a great help.
Now, it's important to note that both Kean and Hamilton said something to the effect of, while they want the same type of investigation with the same seriousness and the same policy recommendations that happened after 9/11, they, like many members of Congress, are not equating what happened on 9/11 with what happened here behind us at the Capitol on January 6th.
And Joe, it seems the Congress and the country were a lot more united after 9/11 than perhaps we are right now. Different task ahead for sure. In the meantime, though, any indication from the former chairs as to about in terms of who they think should be leading the commission this time around?
Well, Rob, they didn't give us any specific names, but they did give us, I guess, policy recommendations on that as well. They said that the committee, whoever it is, should be made up of bipartisan members of Congress, but also they think it's important to have people who will come from outside of Washington as well, because they say Congress, frankly, needs a check, given all the partisanship that we've seen in the past couple of years.